Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rational Investors Daily Cryptocurrency video update for what day is it today? It is Thursday, July 17th, 2014. Some really interesting price action here this morning. So, without further ado, let's get to the charts and see what's going on. BTCe is the one we follow, of course, and we all know the reasons why. Good old PAM service, just working away on getting that set up. Checking out the daily price chart, some very interesting wedging action here. You can see how price is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And last night we came up against this uptrend line and sure looked like she was in trouble, but she decided to hold on. So way to go, BTC. All right, so really tight action here, and if we zoom in on this, we can see how the trend line, just a simple trend line, not really rocket science here, off of this high 698.89 on BTCe, 698.89. Might as well make sure that that's accurate. So what do we have here? 698.89. All right, that's pretty close. 698.89. All right. All right, so we zoomed in. We can see here's the 38.2 off of the massive range. So we came up here, and that was also 50% level. We pulled back, did a nice natural correction off of this rally high here. Here's 38.2 on the downside. So I've been sort of making the argument that we're basically range bound between these two key levels. You could say 668 on the upside and 545.50 or so on the downside. So we'll just call it the better part of $100. And this range is really, basically started, I guess you could argue, on this bar here when we broke out of the old highs. So that's back in May, so we've been just chugging along here for a couple months now. We got a sip of water here. All right, so, just off of the daily charts, we do have this double bottom working here. So this high here at 610 was an important level. You can see we came back down and kissed 603.70. I've been talking about that as a key level for a while. Looks like we got a nice bullish engulfing pattern here. Don't think we quite opened up lower. Let's see what happened here. We opened up this bar at 609.57 and we closed this bar at 609.66. Oh, isn't that interesting? So we do have a outside upside key reversal. Just noticing that now. So that's actually quite bullish. I can see a nice little bull ABCD if this resolves bullishly, taking us up into here. Which is about $700. That's going to suggest that we get a real test of this trend line here. I think when we look at the lower time frame charts, I think seeing a serious battle up in this area is not a bad idea. So time being, daily charts are basically healthy. I mean, we certainly don't have a bear market moving here. This market will break down in earnest if we start trading below these lows, 545 and 555. So we're nowhere near that. We do have a potential top here, and that's up against this trend line. And I was a bit concerned if we'd go below 603.70. That was that low there, eh? And it's really interesting. Look at the lows that we put in here, 605 right on the nose. So if we can hold on to this reversal, that basically means that this low has been tested, and then if we can go up through this high, we actually get a nice little double bottom breakout there. And I had published a chart maybe a week ago or so talking about how we had a 4-hour BoT potential setup working here. So let's go look at that 4-hour chart and see what it looks like. All right, so here's this 4-hour chart, and here's the most recent. Well, I suppose what we could argue here. Why don't we take the right off of the low here, 340. Rallied up here to how high did we get here? 650, 450, somewhere up in that neighborhood. That sounds about right. There's the 38.2, nice healthy correction. And we talked quite a bit about how if this 38.2 actually does hold, then that is quite bullish for the story going forward. Here is the massive OTE off of the bottom. So if institutions were going to buy off of this sort of higher time frame fail, if we did fail in here, there's that 437 area. So that's what this number is, 437. That probably represent a pretty darn good looking buy if we do get down into there. I got a sneaky suspicion that's not going to happen. But anyway, let's see this in a little bit more focus. So let's zoom in here. So just looking off of the consolidation, and this is basic. Remember we said that the market really broke out, in this area here, and this is where we basically started this consolidation. So that's this rally up and off of this high here. If we just look at just some simples, there was a nice trade set up here to go short at about 640. That was a couple weeks ago on the move back down to 38.2. Then we had quite a wide double bottom here, and remember a week or so ago we were talking about cup and handle formation and how this may be a bat formation, and that implied a target of 654, and we got up within 3 ticks of that high. I was so proud of myself for calling that level, but not a bad call there. So a cup and handle and bat target hit, not a big surprise. We were going to cool down. So let's just zoom this in a little bit here. We're in the resolution of the bat, and this is off the 4 hours. So we basically came back down. Here's 38.2 off of this entire range. And you can see, we had this double top breakdown. We had nice, there was the short-term little sell signal up there at 640. I got chicken and dumped my short position, I think, right in here, and I missed the ultimate. Oh, no, it was right in here, and I missed the ultimate move to my 38.2 target. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's the way life goes. Put in a nice double bottom here. So, there was, we'll see in a moment off of the 1 hours, there was a, not a bad setup, but the problem was the risk reward of a 50% bounce just wasn't enough for me to justify taking it. And so off of this 38.2 tag and the bullish consolidation, all we've been doing is really just going sideways here. I mean, we're basically in a fairly robust trading range. And had we broken this key low, then that's that 603.70 number we talked about off of the daily charts as being really important. That's this low right here. Had we broken that, basically it would have confirmed the double top, and we would have broken this trend line here, and odds are we probably need to come down into the 540 area and really test this 38.2 and these lows in earnest. And as you can see, we were working our way lower, and last night we got a breakdown through key support here. And I seriously thought we were going to go after this low. And when we look at the 1 hours, you'll see what I mean. And technically speaking, this triple top here that we talked about over the past couple of days, that's still very much in place. All they've done is just run stops off of these levels here. And we'll look at that more in detail off of the 1 hour. Just the last point that I would make is that if we do break this 603.70 low, right? What was it? 603.70. Then that really implies the bear ABCD, this big juicy trend line, and the optimal trade entry zone, and specifically the sweet spot, all down in this area. So if we had failed this 603.70 area, I had high confidence that we're going to go down here. And really, this is still in play. This was a V bottom here over the past few hours. So, it's certainly not a W, and I don't think it's enough for us to get super bullish. But it is a reversal. So, we have to respect that. So, there are probably people that are still short off of these levels here, and that's perfectly fine. You might have been stopped out here on the breach of these highs. It almost looks to me here like, if we zoom this in, it almost looks to me like that's what this was just a nice orchestrated stop run here. So next stops are up in this 627, 627 again. What's this high here? 629.60. So all of these areas here are vulnerable, and this was this triple top that I was talking about that I was so concerned about lately. So that's really, if we zoom in on the 1 hour, we'll see the price action closely. We'll just finish off this 4 hour, just take a quick boo at momentum and volume. So here was that key level on the volume here, and as we rallied up, it was rejected, and we've just spent the past, a few sessions here just working our way down. I mean, you can see how this was a significant fail through here, and this is a new low. We do have a couple nice green chunky volume bars here on this reversal here, so there is some serious money coming in. And you can see that we actually had a bullish momentum divergence here. This low in price was higher than this low, so we should say this low in price was lower than this low. However, momentum actually put in its low here, and these lows, when price went to new lows, did not go through this momentum bottom. So we do have a reverse, a bullish momentum divergence working here. So I just can't see any further downside action until this resolves itself. And if we look at this, if we zoom it in, that's what it sort of looks like zoomed in. And really, if you are a bear, then you just basically have to say, well, I really shouldn't expect the next leg lower until this resolves itself. Momentum is out of phase with the market, and so as a result, we just got to sit tight and be patient. And if you are playing especially this triple top here, anticipating a test of this trend line, then all this is just a counter trend rally. That's all that's happened so far. Now this 605 number here, this is very interesting. So let's go zoom in on the 1 hour and take a look at that. So here's sort of the 1 hour big picture here. We had some interesting action here off of this range, just off of this low to this high. 38.2, look how the market played with that and then ultimately lost it. And here's the 50% level, so there's Mr. Gann. Interesting how that's been quite a level here. And then, of course, here's the optimal trade entry zone. And that's sort of what we've been playing with of late. And, I was joking in chat, Mr. Mountain Man's trade, the 61.8 tag, you can see how that's played out quite a while. In fact, we had a nice double bottom come in here off of that. You could have played it, like I was making reference to that trade earlier, where I said that, there's the double bottom. Problem was that the 50% level was right there. So your risk on the trade, if we zoom this in, the risk on that setup, taking that double bottom there, was this box, and the reward was this box. And so they were awfully similar, and I ideally like to take 2-to-1 risk rewards. So because they weren't, heavily skewed in the reward side, I decided to let it go. And sure enough, of course, the market zooms right up to the target. Then we had a consolidation here. And there's the double bottom, there's the consolidation, and off of this, if we had a bullish resolution, this would be a bull A, B, C, D target, right? And I was thinking basically a nice rally up into the OTE zone is probably realistic. So the setup on that trade was basically buying middle of the range and looking for a move to the bull A, B, C, D target. And I suppose if we draw this line up to here and then clone that and then project that off of that low, let's see where that goes. Aha, right up into there. So that's what I was playing, I guess the end of the weekend, well, I guess last week, if you will. And we failed through the bottom there, so I got stopped out. That's the way it goes. We came down on that stop out into this OTE, so this is just off of this trading range. And I had talked in chat and on these videos that there's Mr. Mountain's Man's trade 61.8, and there was a pretty nice counter trend rally just off of that. And then here's the OTE sweet spot, that 611, and I was tweeting away, oh my gosh, 611, 611, that's an important number to watch. And sure enough, we came down to 611 on the nose, turned around, and promptly tried to rally. The rally really didn't get very far, and then it rolled over again. And I, in particular, was watching this 611 number very closely. And so if we got to trade through this 611, then that sets up this bearish ABCD pattern, which has a target of basically about 600, or blowing through these lows here at 603.70. There's that important level. And so that's what I was sort of anticipating overnight. I mean, basically price action was moving down in that direction. The OTE, had been tested once, twice, three, four times, and then ultimately the market failed, so it wanted lower. And then, we came into this kill zone I was watching last night, and I liquidated a little bit just because I've been running a school and getting paid in Bitcoins. And the bank, of course, needs their mortgage payments and all those kind of fun things. So as a result, I just wanted to free up some cash. So I liquidated some coin in here. And honestly, it looked to me like we were going to crank down and really test these lows. And as I said, the bear ABCD was suggesting down in this area. So here we are. We came into the London kill zone. In fact, let's pull up this chart. So this is zoomed in even more. And let's take a look at this, because here's some really interesting action here. Okay, so the first thing that jumped out at me was, obviously, heading through the kill zones, we see that the London, they continued the market lower. This is a 1 hour now we're looking at. And they ultimately hit a low of 605 on the nose. And, we've talked lots about big, fat, round numbers and how important they are for these cryptocurrencies. So I found that very interesting, that 605 on the nose was an important level. And what I thought was really interesting, too, was that if we did an OTE off of this range here, off of this, these lows, up to here, this is basically what the market's been battling. Here's this OTE zone, 61.8 to 78.6. And look what the sweet spot is, 605.05. So I found it very, very interesting that, through the evening and overnight, the bear was basically in control. And then right at the sweet spot, right off of these lows, the buyers came in and they just took over. Now, there was a couple interesting fundamental events that have happened overnight that I sort of been chit-chatting away with other people. One of them was the World Bank came out and said that Bitcoin was, in their eyes, a Ponzi scheme, but it was a natural Ponzi scheme, as opposed to, I think, what they the other term that they used was I can't remember what the word is that they use, but anyway, natural versus unnatural, I guess, is the term, and manipulated. So they called it a natural Ponzi scheme, which basically that's just saying nothing. And I thought that was interesting. Now, I think their intention was to scare the market, but ironically enough, it did the exact opposite, where it basically stopped selling and the buyers just basically stepped in. And then the second piece of news, which I actually did tweet about this morning, which I think is interesting, is that now the regulators in New York State are really lobbying for Bitcoin licenses and all that kind of stuff. And that, in my opinion, is bullish, because that's basically, in my eyes, what Wall Street is waiting for. I mean, they can't start funneling billions of dollars into this thing until they can trust some place to actually trade this legitimately. So more talk of that kind of action, basically the regulators getting their act together and stepping up to the plate. In my eyes, it legitimizes Bitcoin in Wall Street's eyes, and they can start really seriously talking about ETFs, exchange traded funds, those kind of things, derivatives, options, and all those kind of things on this stuff. And that's, in my opinion, the next leg, the next stage that has to happen, is somehow we have to get Wall Street to buy in. So, having said all that, the higher time frames, I think, are constructive. I don't see any real destruction here. We came right up against a very important level, both price 603.70 and trend line, and a whole bunch of moving averages, and it's trying like the dickens to resolve bullishly. I think it's still too early to say who's officially won this battle. In my eyes, I think the market is still, off of the medium-term charts, we'll say, I think the market, it was working its way lower, and then we started putting in some divergences, and really, well, not stupid, this is very natural. If we get one of these up thrusts, right, and we do have a momentum divergence here, and it was on a bit of volume, this can carry on a bit. And we could very easily just go and wash this high here and then roll back over. So, the way I look at it here, I mean, when you look at this big trend line up here, that's $640. And then I look at this uptrend line, and it happens to be 636, but you can see it's rising. So over time, that could move a bit higher. This key high, remember on my most recent 4-hour publication on TradingView, I said that if we could, first and foremost, these 603.70 lows have to hold, right? That's got to hold. So did we get the official test here? 605 and then a reversal here. I had pointed yesterday, or actually I had pointed out that we had a very interesting battle starting to develop here on the momentum on the 1 hours. And I said this has got to resolve. It almost resolved bearishly, and you can see they tried to break the will of this market, and then they just ran out of sellers. And then once they got in through the kill zones here, there just weren't any sellers, and then all of a sudden, boom, the buyers just came back in size. And so this, to me, looks like it's resolved bullishly. We're going to have now another double bottom coming off of here. We should start to see, yeah, that's basically what this bottom is here on the 4-hour. And this can go for a little while. I mean, this could easily, take the next few sessions to play itself out. So I think because of the bullish divergence here, just in the short term, especially off of this 4-hour here, I think we could make the argument that shorts, actual short positions may be a bit dangerous at this point, considering that the 603.70 level was not taken out. I have not been talking about a trade because really, the trading ranges here are just not big enough for me to justify spending money. It's just I can't make enough money on the transaction to justify taking a trade because I deal in relatively small sizes. So what that tells me is as we look out, we still need a little bit more confirmation. And really, for a guy like me, is I really want to see this double bottom come in here, and that's a breakout through that 629 area. If we get that, then I can start if we get that, then we can start realistically looking at these bullish ABCD patterns. And this target here is 700, and then of course, as we said, off our daily chart, off the higher time frames, we have this OTE zone sitting up here at 800. So put it all together. I guess the basic message is we're still in a trading range. I think you can actually make a pretty good case, and I thought I had it on one of the charts here. Yeah, okay. You can make a case that this entire pattern is, and I guess you would say it's shaping up to be a bat, although I don't like this low here. So I'm going to temper that idea. I'm just going to simply say we're in the trading range. The 4-hour OTE or a bullish BoT pattern is still valid at 629.60. I don't like the V bottom here. I think this will, in my sort of ideal scenario, I'd want to see this tested and put in a nice double bottom before I think about getting too excited. And so really, I'm on the sidelines still. I know it's kind of boring. And I'm still waiting for, basically resolution off of these, higher time frames here to give me direction. As I also pointed out with another person this morning, I said, V bottoms themselves are very hard to play. So, if you did get long in here off of this test, then way to go. If you had bought the OTE sweet spot, well, you took $6 a heat. That's not the end of the world. We've hit this OTE short sweet spot now. You see how the market's rallied into there, and we're stalling a little bit. So those lower time frame traders that are clipping the market for $5, $10, $15, I think there was your trade. Buy the bottom and then look for the OTE on the upside, and so that's basically happened now. And I think it's sort of back on the sidelines and just wait for the next setup. Because this was a V bottom, I can't even justify looking for a bullish BoT, because a bullish BoT needs a double bottom to be registered for it to come alive in my eyes. So at this point, okay, if anything, I might even call this just nice dead cat bounce off of the news that the U.S. is going to try and regulate the market a little bit here going forward. And it should be pointed out that regulation news, I thought there was an interesting caveat in this, and it says that the proposal has a 45-day public comment period that begins July 23rd. So that means that after July 23rd, it'll be a month and a half before we hear any sort of next stages of this thing, and that would put us sort of the middle of September. So it's good to see them talking about this stuff. I think it's constructive for price. I think we were at a very dangerous territory here on the daily charts. This was very dangerous in here. And if anything, you're sort of breathing a sigh of relief that, phew, this really important low here, 603.70 held. And let's try, if anything, let's try and let the market calm down a little bit here, test the low again. If that holds and we get a nice little turn, then, hey, we might actually have a nice little trade set up here. So that was very long-winded. I'm sure I went way over time again, as always. Just so you guys understand, the basic goal here is these are supposed to be 5 to 10 minutes. They're free. The longer I guess commentaries are actually supposed to be in the members room, and so a commentary like this would have been sort of like my daily spiel for members. You guys, as I'm still building up the site and still training myself and trying to get some discipline on how long I do these videos, you guys get to benefit from this because they're still free. But you guys should know that over time these longer videos will be transitioned to the members room. So, all right. So have yourselves a great day. Long and short of it here, summer doldrums. I don't really see a huge move. We've rallied off of a key low test here and back into an OTE. For the lower time frame players that can make money off of $10, $15, $20 moves, way to go. That's awesome. As for me, I'd really like to see a resolution of this 629.50, and as I told you before and as I published it, that actually makes my 4-hour bullish bot come alive. So really, I think actually for the PAM service, I would take that trade. So, you guys rest assured, 429.60 is the number here. I would place a buy on stop at 429.61. And then my corresponding stop loss would be below those lows at 603.65-ish, somewhere in there. And the bullish bot targets, maybe I'll do a chart for the members room to give those numbers when I post my daily blog. All right, guys, so have yourselves a great day. Enjoy these really long commentaries as they last, because really at some point I have to get some discipline and get you guys on the free service here down to 5 minutes. But have a great day all, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.